Welcome to the Preferred List, a podcast about the people behind the best wedding days. I'm James, a wedding filmmaker. I've spent years in the industry working alongside incredible vendors, and this show is all about the real conversations with the ones that make it happen. Whether you're a vendor or a couple, you'll get honest insight, good stories, and maybe a little inspiration along the way. Let's meet today's wedding vendor. Hey Taylor, how's it going?
Hi, James. It's great. How are you?
Great. I'm so glad to have you on. I'm very excited because I know nothing about rentals.
Yeah.
And then you're telling me as we're setting up that you're also a planner.
Yep.
So fun. So
Mhm.
fun.
I love it.
We'll dive into all of that in just a second, but we are here still at the barn at Silverstone. So excited to be here and be filming here. The barn at Silverstone is featured on the World's Greatest as the world's greatest wedding venue. Crazy. Wow. Here, a breathtaking historic stonework meets elegant modern design with an inclusive approach that lets couples enjoy a truly low-stress planning experience. And also, Miranda, amazing, right?
I love her.
So good.
She's fabulous.
And she's done like hundreds and hundreds of weddings.
Yes.
So if you're looking for a venue, highly recommend. It's also really close by. So, you can't go wrong.
Seriously, it's wonderful here.
Okay, so you enlighten me as we're setting up that you do rentals and planning.
Yes.
How did all of this start? How did you get into the wedding industry? Give me a little bit of like the origin story.
Of course. So I kind of always knew that I wanted to be in the wedding industry. I actually went to school at South Carolina for hospitality management. So I always loved hospitality. I always loved the wedding industry specifically. And after college, I moved to Manhattan. I worked for a catering company there and then assisted a wedding planner on the side. So the Manhattan weddings are just a different ballgame.
Yeah.
It's just some crazy budgets and just really impressive talent. So, I was doing that. And then my whole family is from Lancaster, Pennsylvania. So I ended up coming back home. I worked at a wedding venue as kind of like a venue coordinator, but I always had the goal of opening my own business as a planner. So I got into planning in 2019. I was also working at a bridal salon that time, like part-time, just to kind of fill the void if needed. And I grew from there. And then I purchased the rental business in 2023. So
okay.
that's
So
how,
you were a planner through and through, and then the
Mhm.
rentals kind of like
Came
added in.
next.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. So they're still separate companies.
Okay.
It's Spruce Weddings and Events and Treasured Events. But I mean, we have a lot of shared clientele.
And then the Spruce side of it is your planning.
Correct.
And the treasured events is the rentals.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. So you have been like all over.
Yeah.
With a hospitality degree too.
Yeah.
So it's like that hospitality is like running through your vein. Like what did you experience like getting the degree in hospitality, and like how has that shaped the way that you plan for your couples and even setting up the events for the rentals and stuff? Like how does all of that play into what you do day to day?
I love hospitality at its core in terms of like service and just making people feel really comfortable and excited and happy and like they're having a really good time. I did really well in school growing up, but there wasn't like one subject that like I was like, I'm really great at science or I love math or anything like that. But I always really loved talking to people and just making people feel comfortable and getting to know them and that kind of stuff. So that's how I knew I wanted to like enter into the hospitality industry. And then in college, they focus a lot on like hotels and like things like that. And that was never really the goal. But you get a lot of like really great base information. And then with the internships and practicums and different experiences and opportunities you get from being in the hospitality industry or school, I should say, it just kind of opened the door for a lot of things. So for example, I worked at the Masters a couple of years, 3 years throughout college. So that golf tournament is just like one of the higher end ones in the tour. And it's just like, they do things differently. It's really impressive how they treat their patrons and how things happen there. And so just experiences like that really kind of helped form and shape my view and like how I go about serving my couples. So, yeah.
So I would imagine even just having the degree, even though you're not doing hotel stuff,
Mhm.
throughout that process, you're learning how to communicate with people, how
Right.
to take care of people, how to meet people's needs in different ways. And it
Mhm.
sounds like even from other work experience, you're kind of doing the same thing.
Right.
When you're jumping into starting your planning business, what was kind of the catalyst? Like, what was the path that you had? Because you were doing planning stuff before you started
Mhm.
your own thing.
Yep.
What happened
What was
there
the
that you're like, yeah, I
transition?
want to do
Yeah.
my own thing and do it maybe differently?
Yeah. So venue coordination is very different from like independent coordinators. It's just a different role generally. So a lot of couples will look at it like it's the same role, but it's not. And I will say that there's some venues that do inside coordination and they do it very well, but they do it in a very specific way.
Yeah.
And so that even though I wanted to be a planner, I didn't really want to be a venue coordinator, excuse me. My first job, it was a venue coordinator, but they almost combined the roles of an independent coordinator and a venue coordinator.
Gotcha.
And maybe that was my own fault because I wanted to give a specific level of service to my couples. So maybe I was doing more than my role really should have been doing. But it was a lot for one person because again, it's two separate roles. And so I always wanted to have my own business. Number one, I'm an um, entrepreneur at heart, I should say. But um, yeah, so I kind of wanted to branch out and be at other venues too, and not just like be at
Yeah.
one venue. Even though I will say it's very nice to like have a home base and like know the venue very well, but you can do that at multiple places and not
Right.
just one. So it was a mixture between wanting to own my own business and kind of be in control of my own schedule and my own clients and what I'm doing and how I'm serving them rather than having to follow somebody else's format. And also just really wanting to be more in the independent coordinator space versus the venue coordination space.
Yeah. Could you? Because I'm even sitting here thinking, I'm like, I don't know what the difference would be. So, like, if a couple is like, oh, our venue offers this type of coordination or day of
Hmm.
coordinating versus a full blown planner, could you like break down for couples who are like, I don't even
What's
know
the difference?
what's the difference?
Yeah, yeah. So for the very simple way to put it, for venue coordination versus independent coordination, like the venue's main concern is going to be the venue because that's who they're working for and that's where their paycheck's coming from. Whereas an independent coordinator, your client is the couple. So
Mm,
like your main focus is going to be the couple, which don't get me wrong, independent coordinators are very respectful, should be very respectful to a venue, and the
right.
venue is the client's still their client, you know? So it's like not to say one's more important than the other, but at the same time, there's just different priorities. And there's a lot of things that a venue coordinator needs to take care of, whether it's the building, the lights, the trash, toilet paper in the bathrooms, like
Mm,
all of those little things. Whereas a independent coordinator, like they want to be focused on like when the bridal party needs to be where and are they arriving on time and did the vendor set up where they said they were going to set up or where we plan to set up and those kind of things. So they are different roles, and some venues will have like they'll be really good at putting people in place to cover all of those roles.
right.
But there's a lot of venues that just have one person that do all the weddings, and it's a lot for one person to have all of those details for 60 to 80 plus weddings a year, you
Yeah.
know? So, yeah.
Yeah. I feel like there's even just a huge difference in um are you offering like a full service planning as one of the things that people can
Yes.
book with you guys?
We do day of coordination to full planning.
All right. So like what's, if couples are kind of trying to pick between the two, is there like, you know, something that's right for people, or like what are they wanting that they're kind of coming to you trying to decide between the two? It's like what's the right fit for couples depending on like maybe where you're seeing them,
Yeah.
starting.
Right. It really has a few different factors. So budget is going to be one of them just because if you have say a 200 person guest count and you have $60,000 to spend, I'm not going to tell you to get a full planning package because it's going to eat up a lot of your budget. And then that's going to be tough when you're booking other vendors
Yeah.
and things like that. But if you, I always say, I always recommend day of coordination at minimum, especially our package. It's fairly inclusive. Like it starts closer to 6 months, and we even do an initial consultation on top of that when the couple actually books.
Oh,
So
nice.
whether that's a year and a half in advance or, you know, 11 months in advance, they'll do an initial consultation at first. So we go over a lot of like vendor recommendations and a general timeline, things like that, just to get them started. But then as we get closer to the 6 month mark, that's when we kind of dive into timeline and things like that. Now, it's still day of coordination. So the couples are really like finding their own vendors. That we'll give them recommendations, but they're doing the communication,
Right.
they're booking them, they're coming up with their decor and aesthetic, they're executing everything. And then we're collecting the information and we're making sure that it's happening the way it's supposed to.
Gotcha.
For full
So
planning, yeah, sorry.
that's like your minimum. You're like,
That's
if
our
you do
base.
anything,
Do
you're
that.
saying get a day of coordinator.
Yes.
I would assume it's taking, all of the logistics, putting it on one person, and like the benefit is the couple's not worrying about that stuff,
Exactly.
and
And neither is mom or Aunt Susie or whoever
yeah,
else,
or even another vendor.
Exactly. And it allows their that's a great point. It allows your vendors, and as a filmmaker, you would know,
Yeah,
to be able to do their job and focus on their job and
yeah,
not worrying about, well, where did cousin Mike go? Like
yeah,
we need him, that kind of thing. And then it also just allows the couple to be fully present, know that there's someone that's in their corner that's taking care of everything, that was like everything was over communicated to them. They've already spoken with all the vendors.
yep,
Like just knowing that they can relax on their wedding day and they don't have to worry about a family member doing it or a friend doing it. There's a professional that does it every weekend that knew the right
right,
questions to ask,
yeah,
and they're going to execute
yeah.
what
It's
they
like they
planned.
do this for a job.
Yeah, it's
Like you do
yeah,
this for a
yeah,
job.
right.
You know all the questions to ask. You're communicating, even just something as simple as like, "Hey, you're coming Saturday or Friday or
Right,
Sunday, right?" Like you're
exactly.
good,
You
right? You're
said
gonna
this
be there.
time.
Yeah.
That's when you're coming, right? Yep.
It's
Mhm.
just it seems so simple, but also, that starting point that you have of day of coordination, you're just giving your couples a chance to not have to worry about logistics, timelines, vendors, and I am a proponent through and through for couples being able to stay more present with each other
Mhm.
and with the people that are around them.
Yeah. It's their
Um,
wedding day.
and it's the one time that all of these people are going to be together celebrating this one moment where they say I do for life. Like I want them to be like
Yeah.
zoomed in on
Focus
that.
on that.
And it seems like
Mhm.
at a minimum, the day of coordination is going to help with that.
Exactly. Yes.
So, day of coordination, is there something in between like the full service planning?
Yeah.
Oh, there is. Okay.
Yeah. So there's partial planning.
Okay.
And our full planning is like full scale. Like we help connect you with all the vendors.
Do
We're through the
everything.
booking process. We're exactly. Partial planning is more support on the front end. So like breaking down your budget, which is something that couples like they should do, whether
Yeah,
it's
we're going to need to talk
yeah,
more about that
yeah.
for sure.
But so we'll break down budget. We'll help booking with like a specific amount of vendors rather than your entire vendor list. We do matchmaking for a specific amount, so we'll walk them through that process for those specific vendors. So it's just a little more upfront, and then we'll send them checklists throughout their planning to make sure they're
Gotcha.
staying on task for that month and all those things. So it's not full on like we're holding your hand through the entire process, but we're at least giving you a little more support in
Yeah,
the
like every once in a
beginning.
while you're checking in like, "Hey, are
Exactly.
we on track for this stuff?"
Yes.
Maybe
Yep.
a little bit more like you said, more front end support.
Right.
Do you think that there's like a good fit for couples in those three buckets? Like, is there a type of couple that like would thrive with the day of coordination, a type of couple that would thrive with that like partial planning, and a type of couple that's like, no, we want the full thing.
Yeah. Yeah. So for day of coordination, anybody that is really excited about, well, first of all, just anybody, but also anyone that's really excited about like the planning process and they want to be really involved. They want to be hands on. They want to do the research. Like maybe they're super type A. So they're
Yeah.
like really organized and all that stuff. Like they're great for day of coordination. Um, Partial planning, I'd say if you're excited, but you need help. Like you're nervous or a little anxious about really diving into the planning process. You have no idea what you're doing, and you have the budget to kind of bring someone on to give you more help. And then full planning, if you're like, yeah, this is great, but like I'm so busy and
Yeah.
I don't really want to do any of this. And like I didn't have a Pinterest board in 2010 with my future wedding on it, that kind of thing. If you're just like, I want to have the wedding and that's
Yeah.
it. So that would be more of a full planning.
Yeah, no, that gives me a great picture, and hopefully people listening are getting a good picture of like what bucket they might fit in if they're a
Yeah,
couple that's planning their wedding. And two, like what you're saying, might depend on budget as well.
it does. Just like
Um,
any vendor.
yeah, which is totally valid. And um, tell me too if you want to jump. I don't want to not talk about like the event rental side
Yeah,
of
yeah,
things
yeah.
too, but
Yeah.
I feel like we've gone down this
A
path
planning
of
hole.
planning, and I'm just
Yeah.
like
There's
I'm
so many
eating all this up. There's
questions.
so many
Yeah.
things.
Yeah.
But I feel like, couples that are listening or even other vendors might have a better idea of like what these three buckets are. Um, are couples reaching out and they know what they want, or are they reaching out and like help us figure out what works? Like what's that process look like for you?
Yeah. So there are some venues around here that require a day of coordination at minimum,
Gotcha.
which in my opinion is very smart because again, it helps the venue focus on what the venue is doing and what they can do
I
best.
feel like it almost makes them look a little better
It
too.
does. And they don't have to do a lot of the work on like questions that they would be
Yeah.
getting from their clientele. So there's venues that require it. And so if it's a venue that requires it, the couple comes and they're usually like, we
Hey,
want
we
day
need
of
this.
coordination.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they needed it.
Yeah.
So that's a lot. And then you will get the couples that are like, we're interested in partial or full. Like we kind of want to understand the difference, that kind of thing. And that's when I talk to them about like what their specific needs are, like if they've booked any vendors yet, what their budget is, what their guest count is, that all that kind of stuff to kind of help them find the right package
Yeah, so you're kind of walking through a little bit of like, let's find the best fit
for you.
outside of maybe the ones that are just coming through like, hey, we need
Exactly.
this
Yeah. Yeah.
base
Right.
service.
Yeah. Which, hey, I mean, happy that you need the base service because
Yeah.
everybody does
Yeah.
really. So,
No, and we've worked with a lot of photographers who end up doing
oh, yeah.
some of that job, not the
Yeah.
setup or all of the
But
communication,
the wrangling.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And I know it's helpful to have someone there in your corner getting everything running smoothly so you don't have to worry about it. You're not
Right.
like, what's next? Am I missing something?
Hmm.
Where are we supposed to be?
Yeah.
Are we late?
Yeah.
Are we early?
It's
All the
hard for
things.
your photographer or videographer or DJ to like focus on what they're doing if they're like, well, what time's cake cutting or are speeches happening? Is
Yeah.
dad even here?
Yeah.
Like that, all that stuff,
Yeah.
So it's like having somebody to be able to do all that for the vendors and work as a team is just like, it's priceless. Honestly, it's
Yeah.
really helpful.
So, you started the planning business first
Yes.
off the back of doing a little bit of planning
Hmm.
under the wing of maybe a venue or someone else?
Yep.
Okay. How do you go from that to then picking up Treasured Events, which is a rental
Yeah.
company? I mean, it makes sense, but like,
Yeah. Great question.
how do you kind of
What's the
meander that
transition
way?
there?
Yeah.
Yeah. So like full transparency, my husband and I, so my husband's a small business owner as well.
Oh, awesome.
And he is also in the Army National Guard and he was going on a deployment. And before that, he worked for the state in the Department of Environmental Protection. So this is a lot of background. But he did that. He was going on a deployment and he wasn't sure he wanted to go back to the DEP after he got back. And we were like, okay, well, what can we do here to increase our income in the streams that we already have?
Right.
And planning's tough because if you only have one person, you can only do so many weddings. And it's hard to do triple headers when your days are 14 hours,
Yeah.
So you can only make so much, or you really need to find good people that have the same values and priorities and stuff that
And
you
I
do.
will say it is hard to find those people.
It is.
It's very hard.
Well, especially because as a business owner, you're really passionate about what you do in your business, but it's hard to find people that share that passion if it's not
About
their
your, but yeah,
business.
about your
Yeah,
business.
exactly.
Yeah.
So it's just tough. And I will say that I have found some wonderful ladies that I have grown our Spruce team now, and they are absolutely amazing. But at the time it's just like, okay, well, how can I expand this? Like how can we make more for our family?
Yeah.
And so we were brainstorming a couple of different ideas because he was going to venture into small business ownership after he got back from his deployment. And so we looked at rental companies and we were like, well, this fits really well with what I already do. And it's something that I have knowledge in,
Yeah.
and that it would just kind of be a perfect puzzle piece, you know? So I actually cold emailed the previous owner, excuse me, of Treasured Events. And I worked with her in the past. So like I knew who she was and everything. It wasn't super random, but I just said, hey, like, if you're interested in selling, like, let us know at any point because I would be interested in purchasing. And for her, she was like, this is actually an answer to prayer. Like, I
That's
have
crazy.
been looking for somebody, but nobody felt like it was the right fit. And for
Yeah.
her, it was like her baby. So she started it, you know, and she wanted it to go to someone that she trusted. And so yeah, after some like back and forth and whatnot, it happened, and I purchased it, and yeah, so that was that.
It's funny to me because I feel like, maybe funny is not the right word, but I feel like a lot of wedding vendors don't have like the entrepreneurial spirit
Mhm.
about it. More so, it's like a weekend warrior, just scraping by,
Right.
and you're over here just buying businesses. Like,
It's
it's kind of a boss move.
well, thank you. I appreciate that. Sometimes I'm like, "Oh my god, I can't believe
Why?
I did that."
Why? Yeah, what did we do?
Yeah, yeah. But my mom is a business owner, and now like my husband has the
It's
same
just like running in the
spirit.
family.
It is, and it's easier to do it when you have people in your corner that like, because to be quite honest, I am very risk adverse, like, which does not match up with
Yeah, no.
business ownership. So like, but my husband is like, he's the risk taker. So we kind of balance each other out, and he gives me like the knowledge. Not, I mean, I have the knowledge of the industry, but like he helps a lot with like the business side of things, and like explains like why the risk is able to be taken, and
Yeah,
like that
the
kind of stuff.
upside and yeah.
Exactly. So it's
I
helpful.
will say, man, if you have someone in your corner, like, same thing with me, with my wife. She's like championing all of it. Like, this is
Mhm.
a new venture for us
Yeah.
doing this podcast, and
Yeah.
she's like helping me with spreadsheets, messaging vendors, and
Right.
like, it's if you have someone like that, it just changes the whole
It
game
does. It
because
does.
you're going at it and you're like, no, I can do this. Like, I
Right.
got this.
Right. And sometimes you need somebody to remind you that you
Yeah,
can do it,
yeah,
you
yeah.
know? So, yeah, that's kind of how I got into the rental side of things, but
So on the rental side, um, when people are reaching out, are they reaching out and like, "Hey, do you have a cute couch?" Or, "Hey, we have this idea. What do you have?" Or they're like, "Hey, we want this and this and this and this, tables, chairs, all this." Like what are they reaching out and asking
yeah,
you?
it's so funny because a lot of our inquiries, you'll have some that they're like, "I want this one piece." But then there's also some that are just like, "This is my venue," and that's it. Like, and then like they don't
This
say
is where we're
anything.
getting
Yeah,
married.
yeah. So we have a website that you can submit a wish list on it. So that's typically the starting point
Oh,
that
I
we'll
love that.
tell our couples. Like, it's non-committal. Just go on there, like choose things that you like or that you might be interested in. We'll let you know if it's available and the pricing and everything. And then I hop on a decor call with them. So then I actually like walk them through ceremony, cocktail
Yeah.
hour, reception. Like, these are the things that you need, whether we provide it or you provide it, which is where the planning side comes in to help a lot,
Yeah.
just because I have the experience of how a wedding runs and like how it runs smoothly and why it runs smoothly. So I can kind of bring that knowledge and experience into the rental side, and make suggestions from there.
Yeah, because you're not just saying like this is a cute couch. You're saying
Right.
like the flow of the day. It'll be a nice spot for them to
Yeah.
sit,
Is it
and it makes
functional?
sense.
Where's
Yeah,
grandma going to sit during this part or
yeah.
whatever? You know, it's a good photo op, that kind of stuff. So, yeah, yeah, it's helpful to have the planning side.
That's really cool. And the website just sounds like a dream for
Yeah.
couples. They're like, just I like this, I like that, I like this, and you're like, cool. We have all of that,
Yep.
or we have none of that.
Right.
It costs this
Yeah.
much. Like there's just like a transparency there.
Yeah.
I would assume is pretty helpful for couples that are
It
reaching out.
I think it is, and sometimes it can be overwhelming, which is why I love to hop on a decor
Yeah.
call with them because a lot of couples they just like, and I'm sure in your side of the industry too, they just don't know what they don't know.
Yeah.
And so it's they don't know how many candles should go on a table. They don't know like just I don't know, the most general things. It's the first time they're doing it.
Yeah.
And so I just really love to hop on a conversation and be able to explain why things work or why things don't work or why they don't need 17 candles on a table and like six will be fine. And that builds trust with my clientele too because I want their wedding to look the way they want it to with the budget they have and work in terms of their guests too. Like you're a host on your wedding day, you are a host. And
Yeah.
even though you should focus on your marriage and your love for your significant other, like you're still hosting
You're
a
kind of
lot
throwing a
of
big
people.
party. You're
You
throwing a big
are.
party.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so like you want those people to be comfortable
Yeah.
and you want your event to flow well. So it's nice to always like talk to them and explain decor too.
Yeah, and I'm right with you because we do our discovery calls, and I almost right away I'm like, even if you don't book with us, I
Hmm.
want you to know more about wedding
Yeah.
video. I want you to have answers to questions you didn't know you had,
Yep.
because same thing with you with the planning and the rentals. Like they've never done this before.
Exactly.
They might have hired a photographer before, but they've probably never hired a videographer,
Hmm.
nor do they maybe know what they want, or maybe they do have an idea but
Right.
they don't know what the different things are,
Hmm.
and why people offer things this way or that
Yeah.
way.
And then they can make a more informed decision
Yeah.
with the people that they're interviewing.
Yeah, and you're positioning yourself as a vendor as more of the experienced,
100%.
knowledge driven
Yeah.
person that they can look to and be like, well, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah,
I
exactly. I
didn't know
didn't think
that.
about
Yeah.
that. Yeah, you're building the trust.
When you're working with people, I guess you have kind of like two buckets. So you can pick a bucket or talk about both because you have
Okay.
like the rentals and the planning. But when you're working with people, um, I mean, a lot of wedding vendors, it's so much like back and forth communication,
Mhm.
people, stuff.
Mhm.
What do you want people to feel when they're working with you? Like, what do you want them to experience
Yeah.
as you're kind of walking alongside
Yeah.
this huge day that they're planning?
I feel like for both, I want my couples to feel supported and heard, but also educated, which we were kind of just talking about. Like I really want them to feel like, okay, she's hearing what I want, she's hearing my desires
Mm,
and my priorities, but then she's going to explain how we can make that work in some capacity or why some things might not work. And then I also just want them to feel like the general sense of hospitality. I want them to feel excited to talk to me and know that I'm excited for them
yeah.
and that they just are this is a really special moment and that they know that I'm in their corner and I'm cheering them on and we're going to make it happen in the best way we possibly can and that they just feel really good about the money they've spent on our service.
Yeah, I'm hearing like couples are heard and taken care of.
Mhm.
And in
Exactly.
that, they're experiencing their day better.
Mhm.
They're relying on you
Yeah.
to walk beside them
Yep.
and have all the answers.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
be the one
Or
they can
find them
turn to.
out if we
Yeah,
don't.
right,
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
No, I love that. Is there like an approach that you have that you feel like kind of sets you apart or that's different than other vendors in your same sort of category?
Yeah. We kind of touched on it in the rental aspect of just having the planning background for rentals is just a game changer in my eyes. So there, I mean, there's a lot of rental companies out there and they do a wonderful job, but they don't necessarily have like the full day experience of what happens at a wedding.
Yeah.
So in terms of rentals, I think that's a really a different approach
I'd
and
have to I'd
experience.
have to agree. It
Yeah.
just in my mind it just makes sense. You knowing so much about a wedding day and how it actually goes
Mm-hmm.
to then be
When things can
like,
be repurposed,
yeah,
why they can like
exactly.
all
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. Who's gonna do it? That
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah,
thing.
who's gonna move that cute
Yeah,
couch?
yeah, exactly. And then in terms of the Spruce side, this is a core company value for us, but it leans into treasured events as well. Just being proactive is so important to me, and it's something that I've really pushed on my other leads as well because if you know what questions to ask, if you get the right information ahead of time, if you explain things ahead of time, if you tell your couples what to tell their families and
Yeah.
their wedding party, if you do all of that ahead of time, the day itself is going to go so much smoother. And then you're in control of the events and you're not reacting to what's happening that day. Like, we don't want to be reactive, we want to be proactive. And so I'd say, in terms of planning, it comes with experience, and the experience we have, and we're learning every day. Every wedding can teach you something of, okay, well, I should have asked this question from this
Yeah.
vendor or whatever. You always learn, but the more experience you have in that, it's like, okay, well, now it's in my timeline of like, who's doing the mics at ceremony? Is prelude starting at this time? Like,
Yeah.
did you confirm that with the entertainment? And like, are there any readers? Because the officiant's going to ask me when I thought they knew. So like, and that all comes with experience. So at this point, we just know what to ask. And I think that sets us apart from some other companies.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. And I just feel like the almost over communicating, like
Hmm.
if everyone's on the same page
Yeah.
from day one, like the whole thing can just run.
So
And if
smooth.
there is a hiccup, we're all on it
Yes.
together,
Yep.
as opposed to like,
Exactly.
oh, I thought you had that and you don't. What do we do
Now
now?
what? Yeah, exactly. Just being proactive, you
Yeah,
know?
no, I love that.
Yeah.
It's such a. I mean, it's probably good advice for any vendor
Yeah.
too.
Yeah. It,
Not just like planning,
right.
like what you guys are doing. Um, has your business sort of been the same over the years, or has it kind of evolved? I know you have a team now, but has it
Hmm.
kind of like evolved in any other way over the years?
I'd say we've honed our skills more on the planning side, but the heart of it has remained the same. We really want to serve couples to the best of our ability and just make sure that we're there for not only the couple, but for the vendors as well, and that people just feel really supported. So I think the heart of the company has really stayed the same, but we've learned how to do that better. So some of our offerings might have switched a little bit. Um, in terms of the rental side of things, the company honestly was really started as a hobby. Like, the previous owner collected pieces for her daughter's wedding, and she was like, "Hey, like, this actually could make some money and I really enjoy doing it."
Yeah,
And so she started doing it, and it just grew and grew and grew, and she got more clients and more clients. But as a business owner, I'm sure you understand that, like, it's hard to then put systems in place
once
when
it's going.
exactly it's a snowball now, like, we're rolling.
Yeah,
And so that's kind of something that we're working on now, is putting better systems in place
gotcha.
so that it's run more like a business and not so manually. So that's something that we're continuing to evolve. I wouldn't say that it's fully evolved, but we're
Yeah.
we're working on that.
Yeah, how do you manage the systems? Like you're putting systems in,
Hmm.
um, like when you got it, not that it wasn't a good business,
Right.
but it was sort of all over the map, it sounds
Hmm.
like.
Yeah.
What's that process look like if you could speak to other vendors who maybe don't have the systems, maybe heard the idea of like systems?
Yeah.
Like what does that look like
Yeah.
to develop something that works as a business system?
Right. It's tough. I would say, especially like when you're in it, we always say like, oh, there's an on season and an off season, which in terms of events there are, but the off season is just as busy with like booking and meetings and
Yeah.
all of that kind of stuff. So even though you're not doing weekend events, oh, okay, so instead of working 7 days a week, we're working 5 days a week kind of
Yeah.
situation. So it's tough to really prioritize that, but that's something that needs to be done in order. And it's something I struggle with as a business owner myself, is that I need to prioritize putting these systems in place because the business isn't going to grow if I don't.
Yeah.
And that's that's the short of it, I guess, is just prioritizing it and making the time, because you're never going to find the time because there's never extra time. You
There's
just
always
have to
something you
make it.
can be doing.
Yeah, it always. And so you got to prioritize it. And so we're that's something I'm working on actively. I'm certainly not perfect at it. And so I'm actively trying to
It
do
seems
that.
like you have some concept though from the
Yes.
planning side. So
Yes.
maybe not starting from nothing,
Right.
but it's still a process and
Yeah.
it's a different business. So the
Yeah.
systems are going to be slightly
And
different.
it's nice too because really for treasured events, we're trying to put more of like a software in place now. But in order to do that, we have to upload all the measurements, the pictures, the
Yeah.
descriptions, that like everything,
Tons. Yeah.
So it's a lot to get it up and running. But going more on the planning side, like I'm a very type A organized person. So like even though a lot of our current systems or past systems are manual, I'm really organized, so I'm really good at
Gotcha.
keeping it
Yeah.
like together, but it's going to be so much easier once that like automatic system
Yeah.
is
And if
more
you're
so in
not a
place.
type A person,
It's
get some
tough.
systems.
Yeah, you need
Cause
them
yeah,
because it's only going to end up in a bad experience for your client eventually, and then
which is the worst outcome.
exactly,
Because it's the
exactly,
worst outcome. You could have, this thing didn't work super well, or I could have done this a little bit better. But if your couple is feeling it,
exactly, and
yeah,
that goes for type A people too.
yeah,
Like if
for
you
sure.
don't put your systems in place, like there's going to be at some point that the manual didn't
You're like,
work,
well, I missed that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, is there something that you wish couples knew before hiring you guys, or someone like a planner or a rental house?
I would say, honestly, in both terms, like, but especially planning, like, we are worth the money,
Okay.
because that's something that is kind of hard to convince people because we're not pretty photos. We're not a floral arrangement,
They're not taking anything home
you're
from
not
what they're
getting
doing.
like
Yeah.
you're not seeing anything really at your wedding. And so it's almost like transportation. It's not fun money to spend, but
No.
it's money you should spend.
Yeah. And then once you get from point A to point B on time, you're like, all right,
Yeah,
that
I'm
was
glad
good.
I did
Glad I
that,
did that.
And the number of times we hear after the fact, you're worth your weight in gold. You're the best money we've ever spent. Like we hear it all the time, but it's always after the fact,
Yeah.
which is just tough because a lot of our clients, unless they have siblings and stuff, they're not a repeat client.
Yeah.
So if I could just bottle that energy
Yeah.
and like give it to people that are searching or starting their wedding planning
Yeah.
journey, that would be so
Because they don't
helpful.
know until they have their wedding day that, oh, wow, if I would have had a planner or a day of coordinator, or
Mhm.
a partial planner, a lot of this stuff wouldn't be coming to
Exactly.
my phone
Yes.
for answers.
Yeah, and a lot of people, again, they only hopefully do it once. And so like your experience is your experience. So like you either booked a planner and you're going to have a great experience if it's a reputable planner, or you're going to not book a planner and your experience is still going to be your wedding day.
Yeah.
So like hopefully you still
And
look on that
it
fondly.
could be amazing.
Yeah, but
Nothing
it's
could go
like
wrong.
it could have been better.
Yeah.
Like it could have been more relaxing.
Yeah. So yeah, what's the elevator pitch for a couple that's like, do we even need that?
Yeah.
Because I'm with you, because photo is a guarantee.
Mhm.
Everyone gets a photographer.
Yep.
Not everyone gets a videographer.
Yeah.
I wish they would all get a
100%.
videographer, but they don't all
Yeah.
get a videographer. To the point where like some of my photo friends, half their weddings, if not more, there's not a videographer there.
Yeah.
I'm like, guys, you don't need to book me, but please get
Book
a videographer. Yeah,
somebody.
please.
Yeah.
What's the elevator pitch for a couple that's like, do we even need this service? What's in it for us?
Yeah. I would say there's a few questions in there for the couple. Like one, who's setting everything up? And if it's the venue coordinator, what are their responsibilities? Get a list of their responsibilities. Do you want Aunt Susie to have to worry about setting things up? Who's packing the car at the end of the night? Are you getting off the dance floor and blowing out all your candles and loading them and putting them in a
This is
vehicle?
stressing me out. Like, I want to plan it
Yeah,
right now.
it's like it's just, and they don't know.
Yeah.
They just simply don't know. So and that's a kind of intense elevator pitch. So I would more
Yeah.
so say just think of your day and think of how you want it to go and how you want it to run and who's in charge of all that. Who's in charge of how it's running? Because your DJ is or your band's going to be in charge of the music. Your photographer is in charge of their pictures. You're in charge of getting married, So who's in charge of making sure that all those people are working together and everybody's where they need to be and when? And if you don't want it to be you, your family, or one of your other vendors taking away from their talents and their
Yeah.
priorities, then who is it? It should be us.
That's perfect.
Thank you. I came up with it
Yeah,
right
it
now.
came up
So
on the
thanks for the
spot. Yeah.
question.
No, it's a great starting point, because there might be couples out there that are like, yeah, I want it to be me.
Yeah. Yeah.
don't get a planner.
Yeah. There you go.
If you don't want it to be you,
Get a
get a planner.
planner. Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty
Exactly.
straightforward. I know there's budget and all that kind of stuff,
100%.
but if you don't want it to be on you, and I've been at weddings where it's been on the couple, they've been like answering questions all morning, super stressed out. It's like, you shouldn't. I'm like, put your phone away.
Yeah.
Someone else will
Don't
figure
worry
it
about
out.
it. Don't worry about it.
In that point, she needed to answer some questions.
Yeah,
But
but
I'm like,
still.
still, like you're stressed out getting your hair done. You should
Right.
be like
And just
enjoying
enjoying it,
it, hanging out
relaxing.
with your girls.
Yeah.
Like,
And unfortunately, at that point, it's too late,
it is too late.
But
But it's a great starting point, though.
yeah.
Who's going to handle fill in the blank?
Yes.
If you don't want it
Everything.
to be you, then look into some sort of planning
Yeah.
coordination service
Yeah.
of some kind.
And I would say, kind of backing up to your question on the rental side of what I hope that couples understand or would know before booking, is that it's so much easier to rent for so many reasons. One, it's better for the environment, which is just a plus. It's not easier on your day, but it's better for the environment. Two, you don't have to buy everything and store it somewhere. You don't have to pack it up.
Yeah.
You don't have to repack it. You don't have to keep it in your basement or your garage where it's just going to get filled with bugs. And then the person that you're trying to send it to on Facebook Marketplace is just like, what happened here?
Yeah.
It's just, you don't have to worry about who's setting it up because we're setting it up. If you don't have a planner, then if you are providing your own decor, somebody has to set it up. So who's doing that? If you rent, the rental company does it. So, well, most do, or
Most, yeah.
some do. I shouldn't say all, but we do. So it's just renting. It takes so much stress, and you're working with a professional to hone in your aesthetic too. Like, you're not having to figure out how many candles you need or where this lounge should go or what signage do you need. You're working with a professional that will tell you all of that. And so I just, like, it's hard to recreate a Pinterest picture,
Yeah.
and a lot of Pinterest pictures aren't necessarily reality. They're staged.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah,
just,
for sure. I I have a lot of thoughts on that.
yeah,
But
yeah.
it's very difficult, I feel like, for couples to take in what other people are putting out there, because it could be a styled shoot with
Mhm.
all of the best stuff,
Yeah,
the best lighting, the best
exactly. For
timing
25 people,
for
not
20, yeah. And
180.
right, and it's just take that inspiration,
Yeah.
find someone like Taylor,
Yeah, and make it your
and you
own.
can just make it your own and figure out what's actually going to work.
Mhm.
Especially the venue too. I just feel like sometimes I see couples have inspiration and I'm like, that's like a fancy New York hotel, and we have a place like the Barn at Silverstone.
Right. It's
It's
just different.
stone and history,
Yeah.
a little bit of outdoors,
Mhm.
but they're not, one's not better or worse,
Right.
but like, take your inspiration for something that looks like
Right,
where
that you
you're
booked.
actually booking or want to
Mhm.
book.
Yes.
So I feel
Yes.
like you're
So true.
probably getting a better end product based off of where you started
It's more
and
cohesive.
expectations.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, I gotta know, are there trends that you're like loving? I mean, I don't know if 2025 brought them or if 2024 brought them,
Yeah,
but like,
yeah.
what trends are you like, I can't get enough of this?
I love the pillars and columns for ceremony with like big baskets of florals.
Mm,
That is something, and I love it for multiple reasons. One, you can repurpose it because it's pieces. You can easily move them. If it's a big arbor, that's really hard to repurpose. Or if you're cutting florals off of said arbor and you're moving it to your sweetheart table,
right.
well, how many stems dropped on our way there? So it's something it looks stunning and it's easy to repurpose. So I am loving that trend. That's one of my favorites. I'm also loving group entrances or introductions over
Please.
pairs.
Oh my goodness.
We don't need
It's
the
the
awkward
best.
pairs
It's
anymore.
literally the best thing. I don't
Yes.
even know. We were at a wedding and they all came in together and I was like, that was
That was
amazing.
great. Easy.
Who decided
And
that?
it's so much more fun.
Yeah. Everyone comes in. It's a big thing. They do a fun, big thing all together.
Yes.
And then it's like we get right to the couple. They get this big moment. Everyone's out on the dance floor.
Mm-hmm.
Fantastic.
Yep.
Let's continue
I'm
that.
with you. That's a trend I love.
Yeah.
Keep it up.
So fun. Is there ones that you're like, that can hit the road? Let's not do that anymore. Maybe there's a hot
two
take
come
in there.
to
I don't
mind.
know.
There is one hot take in there. The other one, this might be a hot take too, honestly, and it's not a trend I want to leave. It's a trend I want to come back, is the tiered wedding cake. I love a tiered wedding cake.
Yeah.
I think it's a piece of decor. I think it's
Gotcha.
beautiful. I like the tradition behind it of cutting it. And I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm a huge sweets person. So the mini desserts or the ice cream cart or whatever it
You'll
is,
find me over at the dessert
great.
table as
Yeah,
well.
right. Like I love it all. But I think it's just, I love the look of it. I think it's really impressive and I
Yeah.
think it's fun. And I will say that I think people eat cake at weddings. So
Yeah.
most people don't think they do, but I would say that they do.
I eat cake at
Yeah,
weddings.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Same. So that's one I'd like to come back. One that might be a hot take for couples specifically, and I'm sure this came from TikTok, is the private last dance.
Uh,
The reason I don't like it is because it takes forever to actually start it because your
does.
guests are just lingering.
It does.
Or if you're doing a special exit, so say you're doing a sparkler exit. Well, you had your guests that are rule followers, and once the music cut off, they head out and they get their sparkler. Then you have the guests that are just putzing around in the reception space. So the guests that listen have been standing out there for 15 minutes
Yeah,
plus
for sure.
before this private dance is even over. And it's just, you're a host, you know? And I get it. It's a moment that you want to have together and you want to be together. Do your sparkler exit and come back in if
Yep.
your reception will allow it. The other thing that's going to be difficult because your caterers are going to start cleaning up
Oh,
immediately.
yeah.
But
If they haven't already
yeah,
throughout the night.
exactly. So I mean, it should be pre-communicated, like, hey, just leave the space for a second, and that's something that should be fine. But yeah, it that just gets me
It's tough because it seems like such a sweet moment.
right.
And obviously, I want every chance for them to be together without the commotion.
Yes.
But it is very difficult because you're shooing people out.
Hmm.
It feels like half the people don't listen, like you
Right.
said.
It's never as private as you want it to
Yeah.
be. I would say a great place to do it would be if you do a room reveal and
Mm,
it's
yeah, yeah,
before the
yeah.
guests come up
I love
and
that.
you just like you have your moment then. I always always suggest for couples to take a moment alone after their ceremony as well. Just to breathe and talk to each other
Yeah.
and be like, "Oh my gosh, we just got married." You know, have a drink, have some hors d'oeuvres before you head to cocktail hour so you're actually eating something. You know, I'm definitely a proponent of being with your spouse on your wedding
Yeah,
day.
as much as possible.
Yes, I am just the private last dance. It's a hot take, but I'm not a fan.
Yeah, I might agree with that hot take.
Thank you. I will say,
The
as a
logistics.
planner, I'll support it. If they
Yeah, oh
really
yeah,
want
yeah,
it,
yeah, yeah,
I'll
for sure,
support
for
it.
sure, for sure.
But yeah, wouldn't recommend.
It's the logistics though,
It is.
more than anything else.
It
The
is.
moment is fine.
Yes.
We love the moment.
Yes. It makes of course. It's
But yeah,
romantic.
I was
But
at one where I was second shooting and the DJ was like, "Get off the dance
yeah,
floor.
over and over
Get out of
again.
the tent." I'm
Yep.
like, "You
So
really
we're
want
setting the
this?"
scene.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, now play a
Go
nice
ahead.
play a
Yeah,
nice song.
yeah, exactly. The lights are up, the caterers are actively clearing
Yeah,
things. Like it's just like,
yeah.
oh.
Yeah, the one caterer person, like, walked behind the one show. It's just, like, a whole thing.
Yeah. And even to get your guests out, like lights have to come up or
Yeah,
else they're like the ambiance is just too good, you know? They don't want to leave. So
yeah,
like yeah, it's just they're logistically, it's not
it's
the
tough,
best.
yeah. Where do you see from your planner, event rental scope, where do you see the industry heading? Do you feel like
Mhm.
it's going a direction? Do you feel like it's hit somewhere and it's just gonna, like, chill for a bit?
Yeah.
Like, where do you see the industry going?
I kind of hope that it chills for a bit with like the direction it's going because I do feel like we're in a decent spot of like people want to have weddings, you know? I do think that social media has a lot to do with the trends and like what people envision for their wedding.
Yeah,
And cuz we got to like a maximalist area
like,
and
the biggest, the
yeah,
best, the
yeah.
most.
Like I want all the florals. I want the band. I want, like we got to a place where people wanted everything. But then you got to realize that budgets don't extend that far all the time. But I hope that it just kind of levels out right now and it's like people still want to throw that party and celebrate that really special moment and have the cool decor and the nice things within their budget.
Yeah,
Um I mean, I'm sure you've noticed too, there's been a lot of weddings that have gone abroad. So I think that's a popular thing right now. I don't know if that's going to continue or not, but yeah, I think social media just has a lot to do with,
Influence.
yeah.
It's a lot
Mhm.
of influence,
100%.
and it's all the best
Yeah.
of all the stuff.
Exactly.
It's very difficult
Exactly.
to compete.
It is. Especially when you see so many people doing these different things, but just like you said, it's a snapshot, just like any social media platform, you
Yeah,
know?
which is
It's the
true for
highlights.
all of the highlights.
Yeah. Life.
Yeah, don't compete with the highlights.
No. No.
If anything, don't compete with the highlights. Um, when you're working on the wedding day as a planner,
Mhm.
you're you're the central piece to maybe 5, 6, 7 different vendors, maybe
Mhm.
8.
Yeah.
Like, what's that relationship look like? How does it go well? How does it not go
Yeah.
well? Like, what's that kind of
We are big over communicators. So like in the beginning, I and my team like we over communicate before the wedding day. And then when we're there, we work with a lot of vendors that like we trust, you know, so we know that they're going to
gotcha.
do their job well, but we still over communicate with them. And I pride our team on being team players. Like I will work with anybody, you know, and especially if you are good at what you do and you care about what you do and you care about the couple, then like I can work with you. Like we can be a team player. It's when vendors are a little more selfish in terms of what they offer,
Yeah.
or they don't think that they need to a planner there, or they need to listen to whatever, because there, I mean, there's DJs or bands that'll just like go off kilter and like not like listen to the timeline. It's like, okay, well mom wasn't in here for that speech that she really wanted to see, or what. Like
Yeah.
we're trying to help, we're not trying to be a pain. And so if the team is open to collaboration and working together and really just being as hospitable as we possibly can and making the event go on without a hitch, then like that's the team that we love to work with. We'll work with anyone though.
Yeah.
Like we'll get it
Well, you
done.
kinda have
We
to
have to.
in
And
some of those.
yeah, but that's the ideal is
It is, yeah, it's a great starting point because 'cause I've been to some weddings where I'm like, "Do you wanna be here?
right. Yeah.
Like, do you care about them?" Like,
Right.
I was second shooting photo, and, this sticks out like a sore thumb. The videographer didn't go out for the sunset session,
Okay.
and I was like, "Bro,
Why? You're here.
you're just gonna sit on the couch?"
Right.
Like, we were all just sitting and finishing eating. We were done. We had
Yep.
plenty of time to eat.
Mhm.
But it's like if you're all starting from a place that we care about the couple,
Right.
we want them the best for
Yeah,
them,
you care about your
and we're
service.
believing the best in everyone around us, over communicating, boom, dream team.
Mhm.
It could be
Exactly.
anyone. It could be
Yes.
someone you never worked with before or
Yep.
someone you've done 25 weddings with.
100%. And it's that collaboration, you know, like every vendor is important on that day. Like
Mhm.
no vendor is more important than another vendor. And so it's that's what I just would want to like hammer in, is that if we work together and we realize that we're all there for the same purpose
Right.
and that all of us are important, then we can really collaborate and make something magical happen.
Yeah. Are there red flags? Because you hire vendors
Mhm.
as a planner,
Yeah.
on the like more full service planning side of
Right.
things. Are there red flags that you've noticed over the years where you're like, ooh, if a vendor says that, like, run the other direction?
Yeah.
Is there like maybe some of it's hot takes, maybe it's just like experience, but like what kind of red flags are there for
Yeah.
vendors?
I would say, especially for couples, it's going to be hard to spot red flags, you know, especially if you don't know. It goes back to knowing what questions to ask. And I think the main red flag would be if they can't answer your questions, or they
Mm,
dodge questions, or they kind of tiptoe around what you were asking. Um, that to me is would stand out as a, okay, well, they're not really sure what their service is, or they're over promising, or they're trying not to tell you what they do because they
something's fishy.
yeah, exactly. So I would say that's why it's great again to have somebody in your corner that knows the network and can recommend the right vendors for you in the area that they trust and that are within your budget. But otherwise it's just knowing what to ask so you can see how it's
Yeah.
responded to.
I always feel like when we get an inquiry from a couple that we just loved, that new inquiry from that vendor or from the couple referral is generally like right in the same ballpark of
Mhm.
like ideal couple for us.
Yeah, yeah.
And so you're starting from a place of like having ideal vendors
Mhm.
being like, "Hey couple,
Yeah.
these are the people
Right,
that
right.
you want to work with."
Yep.
And I would imagine you're putting together dream teams all the time
Yeah.
just because
For
they're
the
trusting you.
couple,
Yeah,
like for
for the
the
couple.
what they want. You know,
Yeah.
we do work with people. We work with repeat people all the time, but one dream team for one couple isn't going to be the same for another couple. And so we have a wider network where we can put together a dream team,
Yeah,
but
I
it's
love
going to
that.
suit what that couple
It's not
needs.
just like you're hiring all your
Right,
friends or
exactly.
something. Like you're
Exactly.
like, "No, this
100%.
actually this photographer is right in line with what you're looking
Yes.
for. Experience,
Right.
end product, boom.
Yes,
Perfect person."
exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
Um, budget,
Oh.
budget. I know it's like a like
We could talk
taboo.
about that for
It's a little
hours.
taboo
Yeah.
sometimes, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it's tough as a vendor because when couples originally reach out,
Mhm.
they're generally wondering how much it costs.
Right.
For me, I'm like, oh, but I want to tell you more about it
Right. Why
and
it
tell
costs
you,
this.
yeah,
Yes.
and tell you how much it costs. I don't want to
Mhm.
not tell you how much it costs.
Right.
So if you reach out and I'm not like, hey, it costs this much, it's not because I don't want you to know.
Right.
I just want you to have the context for why we're here
Yes.
in this specific place in the market.
Right.
Do you have like advice for couples? Like, how do you manage a budget? Where do you
Mhm.
start? Do you just like pick a number that you want to stick to and then fit everything into it? Or do you find vendors and allocate money for the ones that you're super excited about and kind of like on the other ones? Like,
Yeah.
where do you go as a starting point?
Budget's tough and it's different for every person, you know, cuz every couple's situation is different. You know, some couples are fully self-funding their wedding, some have just one set of parents paying for it, some have both sets of parents chipping in. So it's really couple dependent, but you really need to sit down and think about what can you actually allocate to everything. And that's like including invitations, that's including your dress and suit or tux, or and like it's including your rehearsal dinner potentially, you know, or maybe one set of parent as traditionally would take
Right.
that, you know, but
But
maybe it's not
you
like
need the
that.
big number. The
Exactly.
big,
You
big number.
need that number.
Okay.
And then you need to do your research before booking anybody, you know, cuz some venues provide catering, some venues don't provide catering. If you have 200 people versus 50 people or like 150 people, the saving in
That's a
catering
big number.
alone is
That's a
just it's a lot.
that's a
It's
big number.
thousands,
Yeah.
you know? So it's just like and you can't in as a couple, you really want to think about that. You really want to think, okay, well, do I want a ginormous wedding with maybe not as high end or all of the bells and whistles? Or do I want a more intimate wedding and do I want it to be a little more
Decor,
exactly
maybe a better photographer,
right.
better
Yes,
high
add the
end. Yeah.
videographer. You know,
Yeah.
do you want more stations? Do you want to offer beef instead of chicken and fish? You know, like what are your priorities? What do you really want? And then you really need to break down those numbers and see where you can spend because I have a couple right now and like I love them and the number that they gave me I'm like that's a healthy number. Well then I found out that that number also includes the entire weekend and they want an after party, they want a welcome party, they
Yeah.
want all these other things. Well they also want 200 people there. So that budget gets really small really quick.
Yeah.
And when they came to me, they already had booked a photographer. That's one of the pricier photographers. They already committed to this and that, you know? So, and they came to me and they were like, we were between partial and full. And I was very blunt with them and said, your guest count and your budget, I don't think you should do full. You like, it's gonna, you can spend that money elsewhere. And I'm taking away my own business, you know? Like
Yeah.
I could make more money off of this couple, but then they're not getting what they actually want. And so, and it's hard for couples to break that down because again, they just don't know what they don't know. So if
Yeah.
you have a planner that can break it down for you and be like, realistically, this is what things will cost
Yeah.
at this tier, it puts things into perspective, and then they know what they can spend where, or they know how to align their priorities, you
Yeah.
know?
It's expectations.
Yes.
If you come into it and you are truthful and honest, because we don't want anyone going into debt over a wedding.
No.
If you're truthful and honest about where you're starting,
Hmm.
what I'm hearing from you is you're going to get a clear picture of what can go where.
Exactly.
Is there like a bucket that you feel like is, let's fill this first? Is it like, do we just go, what are we spending on our venue? What are we spending on food? Like,
So
or is it maybe couples are different?
there's definitely vendors that we suggest booking first. And there's vendors that like it's gonna be a big chunk. Like catering is gonna be a big chunk of your budget just because you have to feed your people. And so there's certain vendors that are gonna be larger chunks. And you want to make sure that you're not booking vendors that are going to wipe away 80% of your budget, and then all these other vendors you don't have any money
You're
for.
scrounging to find just
Exactly.
someone that
Yeah.
fits.
So you kind of almost have to do it in tandem, or have someone in your corner that knows what you can spend where, and it goes back to priorities too. If you really, really, really want a band and you don't want a DJ, then unfortunately you
That's
might
gonna
not
cost.
be able to have like a huge floral installation, or you
Yeah.
might not be able to have the drapery, or the, as much as I hate to say it, the videographer. Like,
Yeah.
where are your priorities and how can we allocate because of those priorities?
I did music before I did this, and
Oh,
I wanted a band so
so
bad. I was
bad.
like, "Oh my gosh, this is so cool."
Yep.
Like the
Live
vibes. Oh
music.
my gosh. I
Mhm.
was like, obviously supporting live music was important too in that thought process. And then I looked at the price and I was like, "Well, that's what we want to spend for our whole wedding."
Exactly.
Which is fine. Everyone can have their own budget,
Yes.
but to your point, we looked at it and we said we'd rather not double our budget.
Yep.
And we just
Exactly.
made that decision and had a friend DJ for us for free.
Which is
So,
perfect. And
and
that's
it
the most
works.
responsible way to
Yeah.
go about it, too. And to keep in line with what you want, but also what you can spend. You have to be realistic about it.
So it
So,
seems like list out the priorities,
hmm,
what's most exciting for you in terms of a vendor category. Maybe it's
yes.
a band, maybe it's a photographer, maybe
Hmm.
it's a specific photographer.
Exactly.
And then look at the numbers and see
What do
how
you
is
have
this all going to
left?
fit.
Yeah.
If it's going to fit, awesome. If it's not, then we need to
Right. If
pull
you
from
want
something.
this specific photographer, then you have to be okay with only offering past hors d'oeuvres, or not getting as many florals, or like whatever it is. If you need that photographer, and that's fine if
Yeah.
that's what you want to do, but just be aware that you have to pull back somewhere
Yeah.
potentially. Or if you don't, more power to you. That's great. But
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Is there something that you wish you knew back when you started your original planning business? Now that you're here.
so honestly, I think that if you go into an industry or a specific business with um I'd say passion, drive, and just like the right reasons.
Mm,
If you're going in to really serve and because it's what you love to do, and obviously you want to make money off of it and you want it to be successful, but
yeah.
like you're going in with the right reasons, I think, and you're good at what you do, you're going to be fine. Because if I knew how hard it was, I might not have done it,
Like,
It's
wait a
like,
minute, what am I
yeah,
doing?
I'm like, if people are like, "Oh, well, what do you want to know before you got started?" I'm like, "Well, I'd want to know like how much goes into it, but actually maybe I
Maybe
wouldn't
not.
want to know that,
Yeah.
because then who knows if I actually would have done it."
Well, and
So,
you wouldn't have known the passion that you have for it either.
exactly, exactly. So it 100% takes hard work, but if you're passionate about it and you're driven to do it and you are driven to be good at it,
Yeah.
then I think that you'll be good.
No, I
You'll
mean
be fine.
that's yeah, it's gonna take work,
It is.
unfortunately,
Yeah.
sometimes.
Yes.
Takes a lot of work
It will
sometimes.
nonstop.
But like you said, it's not a bad thing. If you're a vendor out there, it's not a bad thing to want to
No,
make money in your business.
not at all.
And to grow your business to
Yes.
something bigger or charge more
Yeah.
or whatever that might be.
Yes. I mean, every industry is like that, you know? You need to make money to live. You need to
Yeah.
make money to keep doing it. And so as long as you're not price gouging people and being unfair, like you can still charge what you're worth.
Yeah, for sure. Is there something that's helped you in terms of like business growth the most over the years? Is there like something you do or something you like a mindset that you've had?
Yeah, I would say just talking. I as a planner, I get to be around a lot of vendors, which is nice. So like being able to just like hear different perspectives and talk to different people is helpful. The one, if I could recommend a book to anybody in this industry, it would be Unreasonable Hospitality. I don't know if you've read it,
I
but
haven't.
it is such a good book. It just really kind of brings you back to like what is hospitality and like how can we serve our clients in a way that they're just like almost flabbergasted by how
Yeah,
great
I
the
love that.
experience was.
They're like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
How wait, what?
Exactly. Like it's almost surprising that like they had such a great experience and I love that book. I was actually recommended that book by my husband who is not in the hospitality
Which
industry.
is
So
hilarious.
which it is. It's a great book for all industries because really it's customer service, you know, and
Yeah.
customer service is across all industries. So that is an awesome book.
I mean, the book sounds amazing.
Yeah.
Definitely a must read
Yes, would recommend.
because we're in the hospitality. Even as a videographer, I feel like what I hear more and what I love hearing more from couples is like the experience that they had.
Yes.
I mean, obviously, I want to create amazing
A great
videos.
video. Of
Yeah.
course. Yeah.
But if they had a good time with us on the day, I'm like, awesome.
Yep.
I love the
Yeah.
experience. Um, are there other like tools or habits that you have that, speaking to vendors that help you run your business smoothly?
Um I would say there's a few softwares that I use just to like keep contracting and things like that organized. I also very recently started like a calendar that people can log like I send them a link and they
Oh,
click a
nice.
time which it sounds like very like amateur to like a lot of vendors I'm sure because they're probably
Yeah.
like you just started that but I was recommended that by a couple of other planners that like you're not doing that yet and I'm like no and I don't know why I did it,
Yeah.
but then I started, I'm like, "Oh my gosh, this saves on, like, how many emails of back and
Back
forth."
and forth,
So
trying to find a time.
exactly.
Yeah,
So that's
I
why.
love that idea, but then my days are just
I know, that's what
so
I said.
but you figured it out.
You just, like, because
Just
you
put
can
it in.
adjust it,
Yeah,
you
yeah, that's
know?
true.
So and I didn't wanna tie myself down like
I
that because
know.
my days are different every day, but it has helped. It has helped a lot.
Yeah. Is there, like, a favorite vendor type that as a planner, you're like, "I love this type of vendor"?
Like a category?
Yeah, like photographers, like, I don't know if there's a
Oh
type of vendor you're
my.
like, "Oh my gosh, I just love when I get a chance to work with."
I don't I honestly, this is such a boring answer, but I really love them all. Like I feel like each vendor really plays a specific role and it's not necessarily about what they do, but like how they do it and if they're good at it and if they're a team player. So like it's not no, I don't think there's one
No, it's
specific
just so fun. No,
category.
that's okay.
No.
I was just curious. If you could swap roles with a vendor, what would you
That's a good one. I would say, oh my gosh, I have like three answers to this. One, I would say photographer slash videographer. I, it's such a talent, you know, it's an art and it's such a cool thing to know how to do, not only for the wedding industry, but just like for your life in general,
Yeah.
like to just be able to pick up a camera and know what to do with it. So that would be awesome. And then also probably a baker for the same reason. Like I think it's cool to just know how to bake and like that's another art of like how to decorate the cakes and all that stuff and plus both of those vendors typically have a little bit of shorter wedding days than
I know.
both of my things, but yeah, I think either any of those would be a lot of
I
fun.
would love to be a DJ.
Yeah.
And my wife, if she hears this, she's gonna be like,
No.
"You're
Yeah.
silly."
Yeah.
But I'm like, "Ah, it'd be
You were
so
into music?
fun." I know it'd be
Yeah.
so fun to like host that
Yes.
party
Yeah, you're in the fun
atmosphere.
part
Yeah.
of the
And then
night.
like you said, you show up maybe like 3 and you're
Yeah,
done at
and
like 11,
exactly.
and I show up like and I'm usually there for like 12 or 13
Yeah.
hours because we do
Mhm.
all day coverage. But I'm like, oh man, that would
Yeah,
be so
right?
fun. You're just like
Uh-huh.
over there mixing tunes and I don't know.
I know, you're the good time.
It's literally the good time.
Yeah.
Well, where can people find your work and follow along with what you're doing with both your businesses?
Yeah, they both have websites. The rental side is treasured-events.com, and then the planning side is spruceweddings&events.com.
Gotcha. And that has all the information.
Yes.
Couples
Yep.
can
Yep, they
see
can
your work
contact us right through
on
there.
Instagram. Yeah,
Mhm.
I love that. Is there anything like coming up that you're excited about or projects that you're working on? You're like, oh my gosh, I'm so pumped for this.
I would say honestly, just like going into the late summer fall season because it's about to ramp up again.
Can't wait.
So that's exciting, and then continuing to get our rental software up and running and have that moving and grooving for clients to use.
Yeah, I love that. Taylor, thank you so much for being
You are
on.
so welcome. Thank you.
This was so great. I hope that everyone listening, if you're a couple or a vendor, I mean, as a vendor myself, I learned a ton
Oh, good.
from this episode.
This was so much fun. So
Yeah, I'm
seriously,
glad you had
thank
fun. Well, that's all for this episode. Please subscribe and tune in for our next episode. We'll catch you next time on The Preferred List.